One thing I'm noticing right away is that my belt doesn't match the whole waders, so. But does it make me look fat? I don't know. Okay, so here we are at the old CRV tackle box. We're going to be going fishing over in the river that's way over there. And today is my first opportunity to take a fish with my new Bass Dash waders. We're going to give it like a little review and see how things go. So here we go. Okay, I got the complete look now. Here we're ready to go. So they fit really, really well. We'll see. We'll see. It's a 80-degree day, so we'll see how breathable these waders are. I'm fishing with Pete's Wiggly Legs. My reel just lost its drag, so I'm definitely fishing old school here. I'm walking that Wiggly Legs around the bottom. Usually pretty successful with it this time of year. I do see a fish feeding directly below me. There's cottonwood coming up, so there might also be carp fishing, but I'm going to move slowly forward. The water is up a little bit since the last time I was fishing. But I'm seeing rises. I may actually move to a dry fly at some point. Just fishing, casting, hoping this little area here is pretty productive. Water's a little cooler than I expected. This is early mid-June. We're getting our first batch of sort of 80-plus weather this week, so that's going to raise this water temperature up considerably, and the dry fly action will pick up, especially at dusk. This river has a lot of caddises, and that's usually the trick. I also use the prime Mouradian fly. Actually was designed for this river. But I found over the years that this Pete's Wiggly Legs, or what's called a girdle bug in Montana, is very effective. And even though it's really a stonefly imitation, and there's not a ton of stoneflies here, whatever it is excites these bass, and they go nuts. So that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for bass going nuts. There's that big rock kind of ahead, and just to my left of it is usually, often there's a fish there, and I think it's because there's a little bit of a depression, and we sit down in that depression. Okay, we're going to try casting back quite a ways across the stream here. I mend upstream with these kind of streamers because I want them to sink to the bottom, and then I'm going to let it swim across, and I'm going to try to get it so that it swims across in front of that other rock, and hopefully then rises a little bit and falls. move a little closer. The kayaks will be way off to the other side of the stream because they don't know how to, nobody knows how to kayak here. I got 2 tubes and a kayak today too. Fishing that rock, and as you can see I'm dragging it in front of the rock using the end of my fly line as an indicator to see where my fly actually is. It is 20 to 12. It's about the worst time of the day to be fishing, but that's okay. These waders are quite comfortable. They don't flap around in the water too much, which is nice. I'm feeling pretty comfortable in them, so I'm hoping that they're breathable. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You buy these things online and they say PVC, breathable, but sometimes, you know, they just use those words. But I'm feeling like they're comfortable enough to be breathable at this point. Now, the spot where I want to fish right over by where those rocks are across the way. Oh, see a big fish jumped in right there. And the big fish hang out there because that is a storm drain, and bugs are actually transferred down through the storm drain. It's also a little bit deeper there. Unfortunately, the current runs there, and the tubers and the not good kayakers run right through there, so it can be sometimes not dangerous, but messy when the kayakers come through. So we're going to give, here we go, we got something. We got something. There we go. Now I have no drag, so this is all done. Nice little fish, little smallmouth. There we go. Good little tug. These guys are fighters. Caught exactly how it's supposed to be caught. And he's not going to give up. I'm going to pull him up very quickly. Oh, don't do that. Let me get you out and then throw him back. Here we go. That was our first fish of the day. I hope we got that on camera. That doesn't happen often. Now, unfortunately, my line is a big mess because, again, I have no drag on my reel right now. So I'm going to have to, this is when I'm going to catch the biggest fish of the day, is at this point. What happened was the reel was kind of had some sand or something in it, so I pulled the reel off I pulled the reel off the spool off the reel itself, and as I did it, the little nut that's on the inside fell out. I'm not sure exactly why that happened. There's usually a spring in there that holds it. I'm using my 5-weight Recon rod with a, ooh man, those fish are jumping. With a weight forward, heavily weight forward 5-weight line. I find this line is real. I just accidentally discovered, I was just buying a bunch of cheap lines and discovered this line. And it's weight forward, but all the weight is very, very forward. And so it's real good for this kind of the casts. I can switch back and forth from dry fly to small streamer quite easily, and it can handle both of those. So I'm going to stay here at the beginning of the pool, and then eventually heading towards the pool. The current gets a little strong here, so I'm just kind of sidewinding my way. There we go. We got another one. Whoa, tiny, liney. This one is, you know what, I'm going to wind this time. It's a monster. If I put it right up to the camera, maybe it'll look big. Okay. Some more. Oop, there's a little bump. There must be a little nursery over on that side. A lot of little fish. This river is full of smallmouth and bluegills. Some pike, rock bass, carp, sheep's head. It's a classic cool water river. Well, I guess it's a warm water river. In the summer it gets pretty hot. It gets in the 70s, especially if the flows are low. There we go. That's a nice fish. I hope you guys are able to see this. He's fighting. Not that big, but he's fighting. And I am going to reel in some line. Yeah, that'll get too tangled up. Mr. Smallmouth. Hey, Mr. Smallmouth. Let me around. As you can see, that we caught ourselves a nice little smallmouth bass. There we go. There we go. Throw that guy out. Toss this. So here's what I'm using. Take the junk off of it. It's just a little variegated green and black chenille with a bunch of legs sticking out of it. It was in an earlier video on how to make an easy Pete's Wiggly Legs. This is the fly. Just happened to be laying out on my desk before I left, and it does work. I think the fish must think it's a terrestrial or something that's fallen in the water. Now that tree right in front of us is the edge of the pool. That's where it's shallow. And that's often where the fish are, so I'm kind of slowly working my way there. I'm at thigh level at this point. So I don't want to get, that can get pretty deep over there. In most cities, there's two sewer kind of systems. There's the sanitary sewer system and the stormwater sewer system. Here we're in Ann Arbor. In fact, right above the way, I don't know if you can see it, that's the University of Michigan Hospital up there. And the storm sewers just go straight to the river. So if you go to the curb and you throw something down, that grate will eventually make it here. This is why road salt and oil and all kinds of other stuff can cause a problem to the river. Ann Arbor is a pretty good city in that they really think about those things, and they're trying to remediate what's coming out of the storm sewers. There's a lot of water coming out, and it hasn't rained in a couple days, and that's mainly from spring water going down the storm sewers. Some of the old buildings still use wells to cool, to do sort of a kind of a primitive air conditioning. This used to have a lot more water coming out of it in the years ago when the Michigan Theater, which is a very old theater, used to air condition with well water. They've now moved to a modern system, so they don't have quite they're not dumping as much water into the river as they once did. Every so often you'll see me throw a mend in there, and that mend is not for dead drift, but it's to put a little slack in the line so it'll drop that fly a little bit deeper. So you see, so if you want it deep, mend it back, and see, and then it'll dead drift, which means it'll sink a little bit more. And then we'll walk it over to this side. See if there's any more of those juveniles over here. There's a technique that I teach my students of walking the streamer over to the other side of the stream. And then you can then come back across, and you can cover the whole width of the stream this way. But I'm going to kind of work my way over a little bit closer to that pool there. The river's really moving today. They must have let some water out of the dam. I'm into the running line now. Well, I'm definitely out there. There's 10 feet a leader. There's a 38-foot head. And I'm into about another 10 feet of running line. So 40, 50, that's almost a 60-foot cast we're doing. And most of the time it's just a pickup from downstream and then a shoot across. I don't false cast a whole lot. It's almost like a sideways Belgian cast. I can kind of show you what I'm doing here with my hand. Since I have zero drag, I'm kind of keeping my hand jammed in under here, and that just keeps this from just free spooling. So that's kind of that's a very old school thing when I used to have just click and fall reels. I've caught big carp and stuff with no drag on reels just by simply palming the reel. Works just as well. You know, unless you're fishing for maybe bonefish or something, tarpon or permit, you don't need much of a drag. Bring this a little bit down through the center, see if that works. All right, I'm going to sign off at this point. Just go fishing. See you later. Okay, nice day of fishing. I caught about, I think, 6 or 7 fish. It's only been basically an hour. My new Bass Dash waders, very economical. They fit pretty well. A couple things I would say is that I'm not sure how breathable they are. When I got out, my clothes were a little clammy, so I'm not sure exactly how breathable they are. I don't think they're just straight PVC, because I think I would have been a lot wetter. It is like 80 degrees today, but in general they worked really well. It does need, you got to put inserts in them. The boots are basically just a chunk of rubber under your feet, so it's that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get myself a pair of, you know, like Dr. Scholl's foot inserts for workers. Those are usually really good in that they're nice and cushioned. And since I had to buy a little bit bigger foot anyway, that won't be a problem. This part of the wader, you know, I don't know what you call that, the neck part of the wader, it's a little tight for sort of getting your feet in and out of. And maybe it's because I'm just used to buying giant waders, you know, where I can just sort of like leap into them like a fireman. These you do have to kind of finagle and kind of get them on. But on the other hand, that does make it really fit well. So, you know, the boots kind of do fit better. And it's a little slimmer profile around the legs, which is nice, because I wasn't getting that sort of, you know, that flappy thing you sometimes get. So in general, I had a pretty good day. Caught most of the fish on a Pete's Wiggly leg that I made. I did lose my straw hat today, so but the Pete's Wiggly leg, you know, bring that in tight so you can see it, was the one I did on camera, and it's just a black and green one with some legs, and I seem to get it mostly on a dead, you know, when it was on a dead drift. So anyway, that's just a day, mid-June. Hope that was kind of interesting. I will try to make more fun videos, shorter ones. See you, bye.